What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Patreon video. We're in the Discovery Dojo and we're going to be peeling back something that's extremely close to my heart, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone doing Ramadan. This is actually the second time I filmed it because the first time was completely out of focus. But you'll see from what I'm talking about, it's to my benefit. We're going to be jumping into the time machine and going back in time and taking a look at Marcus and how he described the nature of the mind. I want to give a big shout out to my mate Thomas because he sent me a quote. It's extremely relevant to this video or any time we hop in the time machine and go back in time, because I want to quote here Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, not sure, but he says here, "He who cannot draw on 3,000 years is living hand to mouth." Key point, let's not live hand to mouth. Let's take a dive off the 25-meter diving board straight into the Stoic pool and hopefully open ourselves up some mental spaciousness or eliminate some mental fuckery. Up to you. But I'm glad I'm here and I'm glad you're listening. First things first, I wanted to set the intention because it's become increasingly obvious to me over the last few years that intention is absolutely pivotal. It operates at a primary level in our lives. And what I mean by that, it is the basis in which everything comes out of. Your actions spring forth from these intentions, whether it's set consciously or it's just happening unconsciously, and the world seems to reorganize itself relative to your intention. Quick etymology on intention, it comes from the Latin intendere, meaning to stretch out. It was amazing to me because I immediately thought of fucking Superman. It just seemed powerful, man. Like, just set that intention to stretch your arm out. I just felt like a G doing it. Let's say I intend to read this book. Shouts to the book. I intend to read it. As soon as I set my intention on it, it's magnetically charged. And then I have a magnet on the back of my hand here. And then I get into that boss Superman position, and it's like I'm throwing through fucking space, aiming towards this book. Maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But that's how I see it in my own mind, and it makes it extremely powerful to me. I feel like Superman when I set my intentions, and I'm just navigating through my day like that. When shit seems chaotic, it's getting heavy, it's getting dirty, and you kind of feel like you're getting a bit lost. It's like you're in the Lord of the Rings and you're in this dark place and you're like, where the fuck am I? You know those old school torch things they got? Just boom, lights up, and it's like, oh, finally, I can navigate through this mess. Or maybe not the mess, or wherever you're at. Not only is the intention offering the navigational quality, but it's also offering us a bit of solace. Shit's out of your control. And sometimes the situation goes pear-shaped, or you might think it goes pear-shaped. For example, I can have an intention of loving kindness, and I want to tell my friends something. My words, my actions marry up with my intention, but for some reason, they're running stories, yada, yada, yada. They don't hear what I'm actually saying. They flip out. Now, if I know what my intention was, and I know that I acted in alignment with that intention, it relieves me from the guilt of feeling bad of how it ended up. It deattaches me from the result because I'm like, I know my intention was loving kindness and I acted in alignment with that, and boom, shit didn't go well, but what can I do? That's very freeing. Right there, boom, power grab. It takes it from outside your control to inside your control on a deeper level, which is related to relieving the guilt. In relation to our karma, it is the intention preceding the action that is responsible for creating the karmic cycle. It's freeing you up from the outcome, and it's giving you a sense of a feeling of certain level of security. I'm all good because I'm acting with love and kindness. My actions are in alignment with those intentions, and it's like, whew, I know that the future will manifest itself relative to the actions I'm making now. Like the Buddha said, you want to know your past life, look at your present circumstance. You want to know your future, look at your present actions. Those actions are based off those intentions. Hence, your future will be based on those. So shouts to you. It's freeing us up from that chase of hoping for the great outcomes and being scared of the bad ones, because we know that it's all relative and based on our intentions, which we are in control of. No other fucking person is in control of those. It's powerful stuff. Lastly, on intention, right intention is the second step on the eightfold noble path, the path to liberation given to us from the Buddha. He gives us three types of right intention. The intention of renunciation, your own personal, your intent to emerge out of a delusive state where you misapprehend reality and falsely cling and attach yourselves to things that don't bring you true well-being or happiness, but only perpetuate your suffering. Intent of renunciation. Renunciation in Tibetan means to emerge out of. Second one, the intention of goodwill. Having the intent to hold loving kindness in your heart throughout the day, throughout your life, for all living beings, animals, trees, snakes, cockroaches. You know what I mean? I'm saying, yo, you need to get out of the house. I don't want to have to spray you. Get out of the house because I love you, even though you really Scare the fuck out of me. Okay, next one. The intent of harmlessness. Let's look at that as non-violence. The intent to cause no harm to any living being, mental or physical. With all that being said, my intention for this video is that you get something out of it. Shout out to you. That's what we're stretching towards. Now, let's do a bit. We're in the shallow end of the pool. We're in the pissy end of the pool, the kids' pool. Marcus Aurelius was the Roman emperor from 161 AD to 180 AD. So this shit is thousands of years ago. This wisdom is coming from thousands of years ago. And his key point here was the Roman emperor. This book was never intended for publication. He didn't sit there and say, let me sound like a smart motherfucker and write this shit down. This was just his own personal diary. This is like us finding Joe Biden's diary and being like, holy fuck, he said some nice, whoa, he was wise. That's how ridiculous it is. Marcus was the leader of one of the most powerful empires on the planet. And this is the mental wisdom he was rolling with. It's quite frankly, it's a mindfuck. It comes up a lot, the word stoic. I wanted to look into it because I was like, well, what does actually stoic mean? It actually comes from a Greek word that means porch. And it's referring to the porch at the Agora, which was a meeting place in Athens where the Stoics first caught up. I read the Penguin translation. It was originally written in Greek. Mine's about 122 pages. I'm gonna pack a fair bit in fairly quickly because I don't wanna be living hand to mouth anymore. When we take a look at the mind that Marcus describes to us in Meditations, you'll see that one of the functions he talks about that the mind is responsible for is judgment. Now that's extremely obvious. You say, I know that my mind is responsible for this judgment, but oftentimes it's forgotten and we slip into delusion. We create for ourselves an enormous amount of pain and suffering. Let's get into a few passages where Marcus really probed and he's making these discoveries about the nature of mind from the Stoic view on judgment. And the first one is this: things of themselves have no inherent power to form our judgments. Things in and of themselves are empty. They are devoid. There is not a gram, there is not a microgram, there's not a milligram worth of judgment existing in the objects themselves. They are empty of these judgments from their own side. It's like saying this shirt is bad. It's like there's nowhere on this shirt that you will find that says it's bad. You can go all the way down to the molecular level and it's not like you're gonna put it under it and go, holy fuck, I found it. That is the bad shirt molecule. The shirt is empty. I am the one imposing the judgment on the shirt, saying that this is a bad shirt. I am declaring that this is a bad shirt. He goes a bit deeper and he says this. Here are two of the most immediately useful thoughts you would dip into. He says this. First, major key. Things cannot touch the mind. They are external and inert. Anxieties can only come from your internal judgment. Clear and concise. Things of themselves are empty of these judgments. But do you know what is judging? Your mind. Your mind is the thing creating these judgments, and it's these judgments that are creating the anxiety. It's an internal process. It's not something external to you. You know, it really encourages us to just get rid of this, my mind is in here, everything else is out there. It's really breaking down that barrier for us, saying, no, this is all mind. It's all intermingled. It is all dependent on the observer. You know, it makes me think of this thing from the Dhammapada, from the Buddha, where he says, all phenomena are preceded by the mind, issued forth from the mind, consist of mind. It's all mind. Things of themselves are empty of the judgments. We're the one creating the judgments. The anxieties arising out of these judgments that we make. It's an internal process. It's not something external to you. This is like he's given us the first layer of the chocolate cake, then the second layer of the chocolate cake. Now he's gonna give us the third layer, the final layer, round it off, put the icing on and give us something extremely sweet. And he says this, and he gives us the metaphysical equation of judgment. Remove the judgment and you have removed the thought, I am hurt. Remove the thought, I am hurt, and the hurt itself is removed. That's nutrition for your soul.